So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It is such a privilege and honor to be back at LUMS. The last time I was here was 10 years ago. This was the first time ever that Bain and Company was recruiting at LUMS. And when I came with Bain the first time, consulting was not a big thing at LUMS. A lot of students knew this one company that begins with M and thought that's the entire industry. But it's nice to see that the LUMS Consulting Group and all of you have brought consulting so far. There's so much interest at LUMS, and there's so many students who go into consulting and all sorts of consulting, not just management consulting. So it's lovely to be here, to be talking to you about how to get any job and be good at it. But where I want to start is right here at LUMS. I don't think everybody realizes when you're going through these 4 years what a special place you're all at. So these 4 years, which will go by pretty quickly, may be some of the most special years of your life. And I know you're thinking, when I say LUMS, the first thing that comes to your mind is that next assignment, that exam, that, the next tuition fees that you need to pay, the internship you need to get, the job. It's just a lot of anxiety. But that's not what you remember once you graduate. Ask the front row of alumni. That's not what they remember. Once you graduate from LUMS, what you take away with you are the people. So I want everyone to do this. Look to your right, look to your left, and look around you. These are your friends for life. So what you're going to remember are actually those late night intellectual conversations that make no sense in the dorms. There's those PDC meals, those late night birthdays, those events that you go on LAS trips with all of your friends on. That is what you actually take with you beyond for the decades and decades to come. And I know this for a fact because my sister and brother-in-law were sitting in SS 20 years ago, that a quarter of you will also find your life partners here. So I know this is the most cliched joke ever at LUMS, but I know this to be true. So LUMS is a really, really special place, and these 4 years go by really quickly. And then boom, you're standing there with your graduation cap, your gown, your parents crying to your left, your friends cheering to your right, and you're walking on stage getting that degree, right? And it is such a special moment, and a moment that you remember for the rest of your life. But then you think about this, and you're like, how do I take all of these years of academia, and how does that go into the real world? What does this actually mean? What have I actually learned that I can take into the real world and the world of work, right? So like any other batch before you, you have a lot of options. You can go into consulting or banking or technology. You could work in Pakistan. You could work outside Pakistan. There are many of you who will decide to go straight into grad school and who will not stay here. Or there are others who might actually come back to LUMS and even teach at LUMS. So there are a lot of options. And how much does the academic part actually prepare you for the real work? Well, parts of it really do. How many of you have been in a LUMS group project? Raise your hand. So the world of work is very similar. There is one person who does all the work, that is you. There will be that one person who says, send me the file, I'll review it, and never does. And another person who likes to present and take all the credit. So you are quite prepared for the world of work. But what is different for your batch beyond any other batch that has ever graduated is that you are stepping into a world that even your professors, your TAs, the people at work are Googling to keep up with, or maybe even ChatGPTing at this point. Because the way work is changing is so rapid, and it is not just about how we work, it is why we work that is changing with AI. So anybody who tells you they know exactly how the world is going to be in 3 years or in 5 years does not know what they're talking about, and everyone's really trying hard to keep up with it. So best case scenario, AI is your best friend at work, does all the work, stays up all night, works around the clock, no mistakes, everything's perfect. Your boss tells you you're great and you say, thank you, I know I am, thank you, ChatGPT, right? And I know some of you are already doing this in your classes and your TAs are not able to keep up with it, which is great because you're living through this transitionary phase right now. But worst case scenario, AI takes over the world. Now imagine if any of you in the room have spent hours and hours preparing for that case interview, get into the world's best consulting firm, reach that point when you're in your first client call, and what you realize is you have an AI client talking to an AI consultant and you're there taking notes, right? And you're frantically writing, please don't take my job, I still have loans to pay. And this is how work is changing really, really rapidly. But don't worry, before you all panic, we have lived through many, many, many revolutions and evolutions before, right? So there was a time when the steam engine was invented, and I'm sure anybody who saw it at that point said, this is witchcraft, or the first airplane, or the first telephone, or the time when computers came into work and there were no more files, or when the internet came in, right? These are all moments in history that are quite significant and completely changed what work means and looks like. So this is not the first time that we as a human race have stepped into an era like this, right? But there are things that are also different. And I know some of those examples are well beyond anything anyone in this room except the front row can remember. So an example that is more relevant to the audience, remember, go back to the first time you got your smartphone. How did your life change, right? Like you could order Kareem rides and actually move from point A to point B in Lahore without having to ask anyone in your family to pick and drop you. You could order food at any point that you wanted, and it became so easy to do so. You could communicate with your friends in a very different way, and you could doom scroll all night, right? Like your life completely changed. But the world of work has also really transformed with smartphones. Just think about all the jobs that have been created, right? So think about all the Kareem riders, all the delivery riders, all the people who use apps as the main source of their income, right? So smartphones have created so many jobs, and this was with a technology that transformed the world. So you're standing there in the face of AI, literally staring into the future. What does my future look like? And I asked myself this question: how do I get any job in the world, and how can I be good at it in a world that is changing so rapidly? And I've been a bit fortunate. I've seen multiple careers in multiple industries. So what I decided is I can't answer this question on my own. So I'm going to start interviewing people and getting their views. So I've interviewed over 100 people, ranging from heads of states or presidents and prime ministers to founders of startups in Silicon Valley, to individuals who are actors and musicians and people who have done really well in their careers. And the answer that I got almost unanimously is so counterintuitive, right? You would imagine that they would probably tell you to become more like machines or tell you to beat the algorithm. But what I heard was that we need to be more human. So in order to think of how to deal with this transition that is so challenging, we need to roll back and think about what makes us truly human. All those flaws that make us beautiful as human beings, the ones that make us creative and full of errors, but also ones that make us, unpredictable. These are truly human traits that we need to lean in on more and think about what are the strengths of being human and how do we use it in this age of uncertainty. So, to summarize, how do you get any job in the world and be good at it? There's actually 6 answers to this, but unlike a TED Talk, I'm not just going to list them. We are going to live through 6 stories of 6 individuals who are actually in this room and learn the lessons of how to get any job in the world and be good at it.